Welcome back. When we last saw our half-orc fighter Gorok, he just learned the first, most critical lesson for anyone fighting alone. Know thy plan. Well, now he has a plan. He's stepping onto the battlefield, and this is the soldier's turn. And this quote, man, it really gets to the heart of what it means to fight alone. This isn't about looking cool. Every single step, every swing, every choice you make is literally life or death. There are no allies to back you up, no one to cover your mistakes. The stakes couldn't be higher. You see, for a soloist like Gorok, the math is always brutally simple. You are outnumbered. Every time. And a straight-up, head-to-head fight is a fight you are absolutely going to lose. So, if you can't win by just trading punches, how in the world do you win at all? Well, you don't fight the enemy. You fight the battlefield itself. And that, right there, is our first big lesson. Victory isn't about having the biggest axe or the thickest armor. It's about controlling the very ground the fight happens on. So let's just stop calling it a battlefield. From here on out, it's the arena. And in your arena, you are the master, the dominus. This whole idea is called the doctrine of spatial dominance. And what it means is that you get to dictate the rules of the fight before a single sword is even drawn. So, how do you master the arena? It really comes down to these three tools. Movement lets you decide how close or far you are. Range is all about choosing when and where the fight actually happens. And cover. Well, cover lets you just straight up say nope to an enemy's attack. These are the fundamentals of your new rulebook. Okay, but that brings up a pretty obvious question, right? How can one guy, Gorok, use these simple ideas to control a whole swarm of enemies? He can't be everywhere at once. He needs a way to, project his power, to turn these concepts into an actual weapon. And the answer is all about projection. Gorok isn't just going to stand in one spot in the arena. He's going to project a zone of lethal, absolute control all around him. Gorok's number one weapon isn't just the pointy end of his polearm. It's distance. It's martial reach. This lets him hit bad guys from 10 feet away. That's double the distance of your average sword wielder. And that, my friends, is a huge tactical advantage. I want you to really picture this. Don't think of his reach as just a line. Think of it as a bubble, a sphere of power that surrounds him. Anything, and I mean anything, that steps inside this sphere is in serious, serious danger. But here's the cool part. The sphere is also defensive. It's not just for attacking, it's for control. Enemies literally have to stop at the edge or risk getting stabbed before they can even get close enough to swing. This is how Gorok forces everyone to play by his rules and stops them from just swarming him. So his sphere is like a fortress against swords and axes and claws. It's almost perfect. But what happens when the enemy is smart? What if they see his little sphere of death and just decide not to come in? This, right here, is where a true master of the arena shows what they're made of. When your go-to strategy gets shut down, you have to adapt. You have to have more than one trick up your sleeve. Okay, so what if archers are just peppering you with arrows from way back? You use ranged control yourself. A few well-placed shots from your own bow might take them out. Or, even better, it might bait their buddies into charging right into your sphere of power. And if you're up against something really fast, you can kite him. You just use your movement to stay just out of their reach, poking them with damage as they chase you. Or, my personal favorite, you use the terrain to create a bottleneck, forcing an entire army to fight you one by one. So Gorok's learning, right? He can control space, he can adapt his tactics, but all of his strategies, they're based on the physical rules of the world. What happens when he runs into an enemy who can just rewrite those rules entirely? Because there is another kind of dominus out there, one who doesn't just use the space around them, but actually warps reality to their will. A controller. I want you to meet Vorlag the Vile. He's an elven wizard, and he sees the arena not as a place for a physical fight, but as his own personal canvas for arcane destruction. Against a guy like this, physical strength alone means absolutely nothing. And Vorlag's tools? They are terrifying. His sleep spell doesn't care how tough Gorok is. It doesn't care about his parries. It just puts him on the ground. End of fight. And Fireball? Oh, Fireball doesn't need to enter the sphere of power. It just erupts from 100 feet away, turning Gorok's entire zone of control into a raging inferno. I mean, just look at the difference here. It is staggering. 10 feet of physical control versus over 100 feet of magical devastation. But there's one tiny critical detail on this screen that changes everything. Look at the last line. Vorlog's power requires line of sight. And that is his weakness. See, to beat a master who rewrites the rules, you can't just play their game. You have to find the exceptions, the loopholes. You have to break the master's rules. And this is the strategy of deadly influence. Okay, here's the playbook. Step 1, you deny him information. You get behind a pillar, a big rock, a corner, anything that gives you total cover and breaks his line of sight. Step 2, you exploit his limitations. If he can't see you, he can't target you. Boom, his biggest gun is useless. And finally, step 3, you win the action war. You ready your attack and you wait. You force him to come find you, and the second he peeks around that corner, you strike. You turn his greatest strength into a fatal trap. And this really is the ultimate lesson for anyone fighting alone. Your real weapon isn't the steel in your hand, it's the turn itself. True mastery of the arena is about controlling who gets to act and when they get to act. It's not about doing more damage than your enemy. It's about denying them the chance to act at all. And that, right there, is the first principle of the action economy war. Goroch made it through this fight, but the real war, the strategic war, that's just beginning. What we've touched on today, readying actions, controlling movement, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's all part of a much bigger, much deeper concept. Next time, we are diving headfirst into the math of combat and explaining how to truly win the action economy war. I'll see you then.